So obviously Jennifer Hudson's like not in on the joke because like she's not been there. She's looking at Judi like, oh, she's lost it. Like Judi Dench has lost the plot.
So let's go straight into this. We don't often work with someone who's in a similar casting bracket to you in musical theatre. There are very few shows that have roles for Zizi and I, and we're not the same casting. I cannot do what she can do.
I can't do what you can do.
Yes, you can. You can do everything.
Oh, no.
You're Zizi Strallen. So we did Pippin in concert together in the Theatre Royal Drury Lane last year. Okay. And we knew each other anyway. We've crossed paths loads of times, but we didn't really know each other. No. We did the Spice Girls in lockdown together.
Oh, yeah.
When I say we did the Spice Girls, let me just elaborate. We did a job together at the drive-in cinema.
Yeah.
Where we were the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
Do you remember how wild lockdown was?
Oh
my God.
It was amazing though, wasn't
God,
it?
that day.
It was so fun.
So good. And the rehearsals, like I don't dance and I was giving it, swing it, shake it, move it,
But you were
make
like born to be Sporty Spice.
Babe,
like
though.
it was like, and then I was, no, but you literally like were her.
I mean,
and then I was giving it VB, like.
Absolutely. Like
hands and
you didn't
everything.
smile for days.
No.
It was great. It was a very serious job.
It was a very serious
So
job
basically,
for me.
we went to a car park in North London, and there was a big
you
screen.
do.
Did anyone see this? Did anyone come?
You like did a
Phil.
drive-in cinema.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they were going to play Spice World the movie, a cult classic.
One of the best films ever made.
And just before it, we went out and did like a 45-minute set. It wasn't even
Full
just like
set.
a song.
No, full
we
set.
did so much.
I think we did like 6
loved
songs.
It.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It was so good.
And then we reprised the Spice Girls on Battersea Pier, didn't we?
Yeah.
That was random as
I think
well.
it's because like we'd all grown up with the Spice Girls,
Yeah.
and then the fact that we were learning the actual choreography and the harmonies. Mine was always really low, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Phoebe. She was
What
giving
do I?
it- Yeah. Because she's an amazing singer. I tell you.
yeah. Yeah, apparently so.
Yeah. It was a very easy job for me. For you were giving it.
Yeah, Mel C gets all the
So
riffs
good.
and the belty bits.
Yeah.
But
That was
anyway,
so fun.
so we did that in lockdown, but you weren't really allowed to like hang out with each other in lockdown. So we did one car journey together, and I was like, I'm obsessed with you. And then our time passes and we get this job on Pippin together, and it just seemed to be the perfect time in both of our lives where we both sort of needed each other, I think.
Yeah.
And we met, and this sort of small explosion happened, and I was like, oh well, there we go, that's the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And
I think it was when I got my nipple pasties out.
Yes,
in
it
the
was.
dressing
Yeah, you know
was
those
like,
little
right,
like
we're in
flowers
love.
that you put on your nipples if you're wearing a top with a bra.
Because my costume, like, I don't know if anyone saw Pippin, and
It
I
was
wore it again for
absurd.
the What's on Stage Awards recently. I thought, God, am I going to get into this again?
I was going to say, how did you get
It
into
was
it by
like
yourself?
beyond-
It took us
I
like
don't
an
know.
hour.
I actually thought that, but I did. But it was like that leotard thing that went underneath and like around my boobs, and then the bikini was on top.
Yeah,
So,
it was wild.
The underneath was quite comedy.
Yeah, but it was so fun. It's such a girly dressing room, and you know, normally I'm either in a dressing room by myself or I'm with people who are never there at the same time as me, and we just had this like amazing few days, which I just can't see happening again. Even like Wicked, Alphabetta's in one room, Glinda's
you're
in another room,
separated, yeah.
and it's really hard. So you need time to. You can't be in each other's pockets all the time.
Yeah,
and
it's true. Yeah.
social all the time. But anyway, that's how we met. Let's go back and talk about Zizi Strallen.
Oh, yeah.
You are from one of the most sort of iconic theatre families that we have. It's so crazy to me that all of you do it, have done it, will do it.
Yeah.
Like to your grandmother, both of your parents.
Past my grandma, like my great auntie Daffy was a ballerina. Like it's generations and generations. Yeah.
And your auntie, of course,
Bonnie Langford.
Bonnie.
Bonnie.
Auntie
yeah.
Bonnie.
Mhm.
Auntie Bon. And your grandmother had a school,
Yes. Yeah.
a dance school,
Yeah.
which you all went to.
The young set, yeah. There's loads of people from the industry that went to that dance school as well.
Really?
Yeah, tons. There's actually 2 people in my current cast at Wicked that went there.
No way.
Yeah, it's so lovely.
Oh, and
Yeah.
I've just touched on this. Your grandmother passed away at the end of last year.
She did.
And you told me a lovely story about her funeral.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you'd mind telling us it again, because it just was one of my favourite things.
Yeah, well, so she had this school called the Young Set, and I think she ran it for like 50 years, probably more than 50 years. so she had about 200 people at her funeral, like about a month ago. And she always used to do the same song. It's a Carpenter's song called Sing a Song. You learn the moves from a very, very young age, and then you as you get older, you still do them. And so they played this video montage of like a few photos that my sister had put together. And then they play the song, sing, sing a song, sing out loud. And everyone starts like doing the moves to it. And oh my gosh. And we were watching the video, me and my sisters like sort of in a line at the front. And then I look around behind me and there's like 200 people. And they're, like I said, some of them are people from the West End shows and things like that and doing these moves to this Carpenter song. And honestly, I just thought, wow, my nan, she didn't charge very much for people to go to that school, and she never made any profit from it. Every penny that she made from that school, she sent to the Variety Club charity. So I think she bought like 11 or 12 sunshine coaches for the Variety Club, which are mini buses for disabled children, and it's incredible what she did. She won an OBE, she got awarded an OBE, I think, or one of them, MBE or one of them, for her work, for charity work. So it was it was an incredible moment, her funeral. And she was a massive, massive person, not just in my family, but for lots of people in the industry. It was wild. I was doing 9 when her funeral, happened. And I said to Joe, who runs the Hope Mill, that she had passed away and I had to go to her funeral. And he was like, oh, I met your nan. And it's so mad. Like, her children from her school used to be the kids in Evita and Scrooge and Joseph. And so all of these industry people had met her. But she was like the real Mama Rose. Like, she actually was. Like, she was known for being this dragon lady, and she was always really lovely. I've sort of started to work on a play about her because my auntie Bonnie toured as baby June in Gypsy when she was 8 years old. She toured America with Angela Lansbury. And my nan, my grandmother, yeah. And there's like all these famous photographs of my nan sort of shouting at Bonnie from the wing, do it better. And like the real Mama Rose. Wow. Like in the wing. And then you've got the parallel of Gypsy the musical happening in real life. Yeah. Like, it's there's such a story in there. Yeah. Like, I've always wanted to sort of write it.
It's no surprise that all of you have grown up wanting to be in the industry. Yeah. And you all do as well. I know all of you a little bit separately. And you all genuinely do. It's not, I have this vision of like, Saturday mornings in your house for like spit spot.
You must do it.
Yes. And then someone goes, I don't know if I want to today. Yeah, and there's some sort of like voice from the sky that goes, you have to. You're a Strallen.
Actually, it was quite the opposite because my mum and dad knew how hard it was. They had gone through all the rejection and all through the kind of poverty of being, they were dancers with 4 kids. So they would always be like, please go and do something else. Me and my sisters are quite bright. Like,
well, you got into that like super brainy school.
So and Summer and Scarlett were both a year ahead in school than they were supposed to be.
Oh, wow.
They were both moved up a year because they were so brainy, which is crazy because they're stupid now. And I got into this really, really academic school, and then I was like, a lot of people were really badly bullied at school, and it was mainly because I could dance. So it was quite sporty as well. So when I was playing netball or whatever, I'd do like an arabesque or something like that. And it was just like the funniest thing ever. Yeah. But Summer and Scarlett had gone to Arts Ed, and it was always like my dream to go to Arts Ed. They basically encouraged us to not do it. So I think that's why we all know that we want to. Yeah. Because we're like, well, we could have done something else. We were given the option, but it just, I don't know. We just love it. We do.
There was a time when all of you were sort of doing it at the same time.
Well, there was a time when we were almost all in the same show together. Scarlett was playing Truly Scrumptious at the Palladium in Chitty Bang Bang, and then Summer was in the ensemble. I had just left the kids ensemble, but Sass was still in it, and my mum was the chaperone. So at one point there was going to be like 5 of us at the Palladium.
But so there were so many other options for you, and a couple of your sisters are doing other things and like dip in and out of it, but it's all out of love for what you do. Yeah. And it really genuinely is. And I think that's important to say, because as an entity, if people don't know you, they'll go, oh, the Strallen family, they must have all been pushed into it. Yeah, or, there must be this sort of not in a negative way. Yeah. Like I've said pushed like it's a bad thing, but in a sort of shiny, packaged way, that's what they all do. off you go, you know,
Yeah.
go to the stage. But it's not that
No,
at
it's
all.
really lovely that we genuinely love what we do. And we've all got really different passions as well. Like Sass, my little sister, she's about to be in a play with Ray Fiennes in Bath this year. She's playing a really famous old dancer called Isadora Duncan, who she has this tragic story where she was this sort of boho contemporary dancer, and then she used to wear these really long scarves, and she died because her scarf got caught in the wheel of her car. But she's really passionate about Shakespeare, and when she gets an audition for a role, she like reads everything she can about it and like really dives into the role and things like that, you know. And I always had a passion for dance as well, which my other sisters didn't have so much. That's why I sort of did a lot of Matthew Bourne and things like that. I also kind of used my jobs with Matt Bourne as like a little way of doing something else that wasn't the same as Summer and Scarlett, because at that point I was putting a lot of pressure on myself and doing terrible auditions, because I would be waiting outside auditions thinking, my God, they're going to think I'm the one. They're going to think I'm the untalented one. Like, they've worked with Summer and Scarlett, and they've both been up for Olivier Awards, and I'm going to walk in and they're obviously just going to be like, oh, well, she's the crap one. You know what I mean? Like, I literally was telling myself this and, like, putting this pressure on myself. And then what would happen is I was making it come true. I'd walk into an audition and obviously crap myself and, like, do a bad job and then, like, prove myself right. So when I got this audition through for Matt Bourne, I went there. I never, ever thought for a million years that I would get in. And I did this like full day audition. But what I realised with Matt Bourne is that he is acting first. He is like character first, acting first, dancing later. And especially for the jobs I've done with him, with Cinderella and the Carman, it's like Carman's almost like jazz musical theatre dancing. So I sort of got to do like my two like passions at the same time, and it was something that my sisters had never done. Like the contemporary dancers at Matt Bourne had never heard who a Strallen was, you know, like didn't know who Summer and Scarlett Strallen were, or Bonnie Langford or anything like that. So it was like my own little world. And then after I first worked for Matt Bourne, I then got Rock of Ages in the West End, and then I started again.
Yeah.
So it was like really lovely that I sort of like found my own little path and took the pressure off myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the pressure of just having your name is enough to crumble you.
Exactly. It was. I was putting the pressure on myself in a really negative way. And also it kind of like set me up then to then play Mary Poppins later, because obviously if I hadn't done that, I think if I had then auditioned for Mary Poppins and Scarlett had already played it, whatever, like, I just wouldn't have been in the right headspace.
I love that you've both played that role.
I know, it's
that
amazing,
brings me
isn't
like deep joy. And you've done it twice, haven't you?
Yeah. I did it on tour and then I did it in town.
Yeah.
With COVID in the middle when I was an estate agent.
Yeah. Another wild COVID story.
So
Can
if
you
you need a
imagine?
flat.
No. Another sort of weird little thing that brought me deep joy when I learned it about you is that both of your parents were in the original version of Cats. And then you were in the movie of Cats.
The hit movie musical.
Yeah, the hit movie musical.
Smash hit movie musical.
Yeah, absolutely. What was
Smash hit? Am I laughing?
When you were filming Cats,
yeah.
What did you think was happening? Were you
That's the best question ever.
Like, were you
what
thinking?
Do you think? What was that?
Were you thinking, wow, I'm in the live action of Cats with Judi Dench and Taylor Swift, and oh my God, this is great? Or were you like, this is going to go awry?
So I did the very, very first screen tests for Cats. So I was like patient zero in the Cats movie. I was doing the Mary Poppins tour, and David Grinrod, the big casting director, phoned me directly. I thought, hello. I've spoken to you directly.
Hi,
and
darling.
Like, hello, darling. Can you come to Pineapple? Because I just need you to sing McCavity, and I'm going to film you, and it'll just be me and you, and we're going to be in a studio. Yeah, literally. And you're going to just do McCavity, but you're not going to do any of the choreography from the show, because I had done the show before, and I had sung McCavity because I played Demeter. He was like, so you know the song, and I just need you to do something, and I'll film you. So anyway, it was so funny. I was like, is this an audition? I don't understand. So we did that, and then he was like, I don't know either. I've just been told this. Like, I know as much as you. Anyway, so then I get another call. Can you come to working title? You're going to meet Tom Hooper, and you're going to have a prosthetic thing done. And then I went again, and I had this fur face, this like full fur face. And I spent 8 hours singing and dancing to McCavity in a fur prosthetic. So I did that, and that was my first experience of Tom Hooper, where he was like, do it again. And I thought, oh, this sounds like my nan. And a couple of years later, I was doing Strictly Ballroom, and they said, they do actually want you on the film to play Tantamile, and you need to start on Thursday. This was on Monday. I was like, okay, but I've still got 4 weeks left of Strictly Ballroom. So I doubled up rehearsals for the Cats film while I was doing Strictly Ballroom at night. And Strictly Ballroom wasn't an easy show.
No, that's not a joke.
So I did that. And I think like from the first day, from the screen test, I was like, this is going to be interesting.
This is weird.
Yeah, this is going to be weird.
But then, like, when you were actually filming it, and
stuff,
like some of the stories I've heard
didn't
about
go
the set.
away. Yeah, it was like, what? So we're going to unzip her skin, and then she's just got a sparkly thing underneath. Her guts and blood aren't going to fall out. Like that was the bit. There's a bit in Gumby Cat with Rebel Wilson, and we literally like she unzips her fur skin, and I was like, okay, and then we just like stopped asking questions like that. It was like, just don't ask.
Gets to a point in certain creative rooms that you think, I'm just gonna do it and see what happens.
And we were
what's
earning
the
really
worst
good
that could
money.
happen?
Like, they were paying us really good money.
Yeah.
We were there. It kept going on and on and on longer. We ended up being there. I ended up doing that film for 7 months.
Did you really?
Yeah,
That's
7
wild.
months. So I bought my flat out of it, and that's it. You know what I
Great.
mean? No one can tell it's me in it.
Thank you very much,
Fantastic.
Tom.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zippy Skin. We will
Yeah.
take it.
You know, but there were some crazy moments, and the people that I met on that job, I mean, God, like Judi Dench, like I've actually spent time with Judi Dench. There was one day when we were filming Gus is the Cat, and Ian McKellen was there with Judi Dench, and we had these in-ears, and we could hear everything that they were saying, because, I mean, for some reason, they always left, like, the A-lister in-ears on, so we could hear them all the time. And in between shots, they would just, like, sit and talk, like a podcast. Judi Dench and Ian McKellen, and everyone, all of us were just sat around the set, like listening to our in-ears, like, you know, they
like,
were
shut up.
Yeah, they were talking about these like amazing actors that had like fallen over on the stage and things like that. It was like, it was so fun to listen. Like moments like that, you're like, I don't care what this film's like.
No,
you know what I mean?
Who gives
Yeah.
a hell? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, so
That is unbelievable.
It was pretty cool experience as well as being kind of crazy. And Taylor Swift was so nice.
And unsurprising.
Oh my God, she's so nice. She's so normal and cool and like, yeah, just would sit and say like, oh my God, do I look like a giraffe in that bit? She'd always say that because she was like really aware of being gangly and tall.
Oh,
She's
really?
so tall. Yeah, she was so sweet.
And I imagine even coming from a house like yours, I imagine little Z would never in a million years have dreamed that she would be
and you
there.
know what? It was so special because I was the 5th member of my family to be in Cats, yeah. I was the 5th member of my family to be in Cats when I did it in the show, and then it was lovely that I got to be in the film.
So wait, both your parents did
Bonnie.
it?
So Bonnie was original cast,
Yes,
Uncle Teaser,
yeah.
and she was 16.
She was 16 when
Yeah.
she did that.
Yeah. Then my mum took over 2nd year. She took over from Finola, who was the original White Cat, and my mum took over. And then my dad came in 3rd year, and then my mum and dad were in it for 3 years together.
And is that how they met?
No, they already had Scarlett and Summer at that
No
point.
way. Your mum
Yeah.
played the White Cat when she had 2 children.
When she had 2 kids, yeah.
For goodness sake.
Yeah, and she always says to me, before we had split-sole jazz shoes as well, Zizi. It's like, I used to cut my jazz shoes in half so I could point my feet. I was like, actually, to be fair, that's wild.
Yeah.
They didn't have split-sole jazz shoes.
No. So how
Yeah.
did they meet, your parents?
They met because... so my dad is wild, and
He's
to put it,
sensational.
he's
man.
sensational. My mum had been to the Royal Ballet School, and she was in English National Ballet, but she decided that all the politics of ballet and all the sort of like eating troubles and things like that just like weren't for her, and she wanted to do more jazz. So there was a big choreographer called Dougie Squires at the time, and he had a touring jazz company. So my mum joined that with her younger sister Pet, who's the one in between my mum and Bonnie. And then my dad was from this like crazy military family in Somerset, and he just like legged it and said, I want to be a dancer. Then my dad got this like audition for this Dougie Squires, and my dad is like naturally, his physique is very natural. He's like 6'1". He never used to go to the gym. He's like your perfect sort of like triangle shape. He's in loads of anatomy books, and he was always like painted by artists and things like that. He's like ridiculously like, my mum always said, I only married him for his genes. And then my mum basically taught him how to dance. So he got the job because of his body, and he could lift the girls. And then they met and fell in love through dance. And then they started this, what was called an adagio act, which was like two people that could do loads of lifts, basically, called Leo and Libra. And they used to dance for like different bands and tour. And then they lived in France for a bit, and they were in strip shows. And I think my mum was in the Crazy Horse and things like that.
Wait, your mum was in the Crazy Horse?
Yeah, I think she was for a bit. And then my dad was in this like other strip show. They have this really crazy story about when they got married. They haven't been together for 20 years, my mum and dad, but there's a lot of love there. But they had a very passionate, they were both dancers, that kind of like really passionate. And they used to break up all the time and get back together. And so they broke up one of these times before they were married. And then my mum, I think it was when she was in Crazy Horse, and she was doing something at some other show in Paris. So she fled to Paris and she started going out with somebody else. And then my dad got wind that she was seeing somebody else. So naturally, he went to Paris and proposed. So he asked her to marry him. And then they decided to get married in 3 weeks. But they had a show that night. So they came to London, they got married. And then they flew back to Paris, or got the train or whatever, and did their show at night, and then had their party. So the picture that we had on our mantelpiece growing up is my mum and dad butt naked in their wedding
because
photo.
they'd done the show that night.
Yeah. So they're dancing like together. So you can't really see anything, but loads of people. My dad's wearing a gold top hat, and loads of people are throwing champagne over them, and that was like their wedding photo.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
I mean, they've got a really like, civilized one where they're sort of standing with my nan and granddad outside the church.
They went in that one too.
Yeah, no, not the other one. Yeah, and then my mum and dad like went to Paris, did their shows, and then there's some beautiful videos of my mum and dad dancing together on YouTube and on Top of the Pops and things like that. I love watching them.
Oh, that's iconic.
Yeah, and they're in the Elton John "I'm Still Standing" video.
Are they actually?
Yeah. My dad is also in a lot of Bananarama videos. He's in a Whitney Houston video.
Which one?
How will I know?
No,
if
that's
he
the best
really-
one!
Yeah, my dad's in that video. Yeah.
Sandy.
It's because Arlene used to choreograph all the videos.
Yeah.
So my mum and dad were like the favourite dancers. Yeah, Arlene Phillips. So yeah, my mum and dad were like the favourite dancers. So they were always in those videos.
That's so cool.
Yeah, they are pretty cool.
I would like to talk. You're currently, like literally today, we're in rehearsals for Wicked. And we're going to be completely honest about this. There is a moment in week 3 of rehearsals, which I have spoken quite openly about, where you question all of your life choices and you sort of go,
I can't do this.
I'm rubbish. I don't know what I'm doing. And I normally leave the room, have a little cry. I have 1 or 2 different friends that I can call in that moment, and they'll call me in the same moment. And Z had that today.
Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting for us to be having this conversation today.
I know, I'm really glad I'm seeing you actually.
Because literally tomorrow, babe, you'll go back in and you'll do it again. You'll be like, oh no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm great at this.
I know, it's wild though, isn't it?
Can you tell us what happened and what sort of triggered the moment?
I think it's when you there's a bit at the end of Popular when you have to run and jump on the bed, but also sing la 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 la, and I just sort of went la la, like,
because you're physically
because
moving.
you're running, and it was one of the first times we were rehearsing on stage today. It was my first time doing Popular on stage. So then you're also on stage with no one in the audience and no mic. And it's like a really weird, and just like a keyboard in the auditorium. So you're like, do I sing out? Do I sing quietly? Like, it's a really hard one. And then I'm sort of running, and then the MD was like, do you think you could just like sing through that a bit more? I was like, I will try.
How about you do it, Ron?
Yeah, I know. I literally was like, okay, well, you go and try it. Can you go and try it and run up and jump on that bed? I thought, you know what, it'll come. I said, it'll come.
And it will. And it really will. It will come like tomorrow. It really will, Z. I know today, I'm really glad that we're having this conversation today.
Yeah.
Because it's really good for all of us to see. Because when you're in it, you can't see the wood for the trees. And you feel like, oh my God, I'm about to go I'm going to be in Wicked and I can't do it.
Yeah.
And they've given me this job and they've put all this faith in me.
There's
and
a lot of pressure when it comes to Wicked as
oh,
well.
so much pressure.
Because a lot of people love it.
You guys
Which
really
they
like
should.
Wicked.
Yeah. I
right?
love it.
And that's great.
know.
Like, we love it too. But when you're then in it, you feel the pressure of 1,000 dreamy people every day more sort of going, come on then.
Obviously, it's a lovely thing when someone says to you, oh my God, you're perfect for that. Or like, you're going to be so good. And you're like, cool. You know, because you're like, am I? Because,
but you are.
Because then you suddenly feel like, oh God, now I have to be good. You know,
it's also like that weird thing when you get the job and you go, oh my God, I got the job. Yay. And you celebrate, you pop the champagne.
My God, I have
and
to
then
do
about an hour later, you're like, I have to actually do it now.
Yeah, literally.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And let me tell you, the bubble is lovely, but honestly, you feel like you're just going to topple forward out of it.
You won't. That's literally happened like once ever.
Yeah, like literally happened like
happened.
5 times.
Disclaimer. I don't want to get sued again.
Sued again.
No, second time today is fine.
Lol. But yeah, no, it really does feel like that because it's so open. You feel like you're in a weird hamster wheel.
Yes, it is hamster wheelie.
Yeah, and then, I mean, let me tell you, Emma Kingston is wonderful.
She's going to be incredible.
She is going to be incredible. And she can sing anything, that girl.
She really can.
Honestly, it's wild.
It's annoying, actually, isn't it?
So at 10 o'clock yesterday, so right, we're going to start staggering through the show, but obviously like I'd never realised, but the first thing that Elphaba really sings is Wisdom Eye, isn't it? She comes on and shiz, and then it goes straight into Wisdom Eye. So obviously that's like 10:30, because we're just like going into it from 10 o'clock, and she's literally giving it full belt.
Yeah.
Wisdom Eye. Then I come on. There's been some confusion.
There's just no way it would have been perfect.
Cause I will rise. It's not.
Please do it like that. Please. I'm just really glad because I think it's really interesting as fans of you, which we all are. It's really It's really interesting to see a moment like this because why would anyone ever think that this would happen to you? Yeah. Why would anyone ever believe that you could question yourself in that way? Because we just think you're incredible, and you are, and you will. Tomorrow you'll be fine. Yeah. But it's really good to share it, I think.
Absolutely.
And I've had it. I remember in Baker's Wife last year, and I left the building that we were rehearsing in, and I called my friend John, and I literally cried on the way home, and I was like, I can't do it. It's too much. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. I don't understand the style of the show
anymore.
No, I don't know how to move my feet forward like one after each other. Like
you suddenly start thinking about what you're doing with your hands.
Yes, you're like, why am I so aware of my left elbow?
Why are my hands really open?
Yeah. It's really weird. Like, why is my shoulder there? Like, I never needed it. So why are you here?
Yeah, totally.
It's such a weird thing, but then you just wake up the next day and you have to shake it off and go in because that's your job. And you find something new that day that clicks things into place, and well, you hope you do. It always has for me.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
And it will for you.
For a reason.
Yeah.
Because they entrusted you for a reason because you are right for it. And there are some things that they're kind of allowing me to throw into Glinda, which are very me, and I love that. Which I'm really, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this. This is silly. This is fun. Yeah. And I'm sort of like making Carl laugh on stage, like as Fiyero, as Glinda. You know what I mean? It's like,
and he's done the show like 5,000 times. So if you can make him laugh, then you're like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when he moves towards me and Dancing Through Life, I was like, ooh, and he was like, oh, it's like, it was quite funny and like just like really kind of in the moment. And so I'm like, oh no, I can do this. It's fine.
You're going to be so good. And I am so excited. Tosh and I have just made a date. We're going to come and see you. And I am so excited. And more than that, I'm excited for the audiences to experience you because I feel like, because I know you so well now, there is so much of you that is going to be front and center in this role. And you've played a lot of really sexy gals.
I have.
You've done a lot serious. Of thigh slapping.
Mary Poppins was quite serious.
Oh, but she's not a sexy gal.
I mean, she is.
She's a sexy woman.
It's surprising how many people find the whole Mary Poppins thing very sexy.
Really?
I think it's like a nanny thing. I don't know. Weird. That's for another show.
Yeah. That's for late night off
late
script.
Night. No, but like she's got a twinkle, hasn't she, Mary Poppins?
Oh yeah.
But she's not like
she's charismatic.
She's not like for the first kind of like 7 years of my career, I was always cast as like the mistress or the girl that took her clothes off. Yeah.
And 9 this year.
9, yeah.
You've done lots of like really sexy. And Glinda she's confident, but she's not sexy.
Yeah.
She's awkward. And
she's awkward.
She's supposed to be quite pure and you are
I'm
that.
awkward.
You are sexy, of course you are. But you're
awkward.
very funny and weird.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited for people to see that.
Yeah.
I really am.
You know what? I was talking about this recently because I was talking to a friend of mine who's very, very funny, that is very good looking. So like always like,
it wasn't me.
Yeah, it was Lucie Jones. It takes one person or one director. Oh my god, I sound like Lady Gaga in a room full of 90. Remember that?
Bradley Cooper.
No, but like, lol. But when it was Drew McConey for me because I got cast as Penny Pingleton in Hairspray, and then I could sort of like be my sort of like dorky self, and then he cast me as Fran in Strictly Ballroom, where again I got to sort of just be more me.
Mm-hmm.
So like Drew always knew me as like when I was younger, so then cast me as like the people that were actually me rather than the girl that took her clothes off.
Yeah.
You know, and I can do the girl that takes her clothes off. Like,
absolutely,
you know,
and so you should.
Yeah.
Give the people what they want.
But
i.e. me.
and also because I can dance, you know, kick a leg or whatever, you know, kind of goes hand in hand. But it is lovely to be a bit more kind of just me.
I'm stoked to see you do it, man. I just want to throw it slightly back to the car man because when you speak about that particular job, you speak about it with such love and such passion.
Yeah.
And I know you really loved the piece. And when I shared, I don't know if you follow me on social media, I shared recently a video of you doing that.
Doing the solo.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I think also, if you don't mind me talking about this,
well, I don't know.
Well,
what
we'll
are you
find
going to talk about?
It's really sad.
What, Johnny?
Yeah. It was a really traumatic time in your life, but you still speak about that job as being one of your favourite things that you've ever done. Yeah,
well, I think I touched on it before with like, you know, finding my kind of own path, that was sort of my thing. And that role is such an acting role as well. Like I didn't think about the dancing. What was the role, just for if people don't know the show? So the show is set in a garage, like a mechanic's, in Middle America, and this girl's got a very, very abusive husband, and then this guy sort of walks into the mechanics, and so she starts having an affair with him, but she doesn't know that this guy is also having an affair with another guy in the garage, in the mechanics. So he's having a thing with a guy and the girl, and then my character Lana kills her husband. Sorry, spoiler alert. And with the help of Luca, the other guy. And then she frames the younger guy for it because she knows that he's in love with and so it's like so you think that she's this like really lovely, like, oh, I'm, you know, being abused or whatever, blah, and then she's like this really sort of complex character who's really out for herself, and then she ends up killing the other guy at the end. She's just out for blood. Yeah. So it's a fantastic role. And I just loved it. But yeah, it was one of the worst days of my life. You know, I was playing opposite this guy, Johnny, and we, you know, loved dancing together, and we'd really found these roles together, and he was so perfect in it. And he rode a motorbike, and on the very, very last day of the show, he just never got there. He died on his way to work in a motorcycle accident, so we never did the last show, and he dies at the end of the show. So it was just very, very kind of crazy, and we all kind of said that he wouldn't have wanted to go any other way. Like I don't know, he loved what he was doing, and he was getting frustrated with the fact that he was getting older and he couldn't do what he could do anymore, and then I was asked to do the show when I was doing Mary Poppins. I was asked to do it again 7 years later. and there were 9 of us that had done the previous contract with Johnny, and it was like therapy. It was wild to do it again, hear the music again, because we had never had that closure. We'd never done the last show. He had just been in this horrific accident, our friend who we'd done the last contract with, and I'd played opposite, and then he just wasn't there anymore. And he was so iconic in the role as well, like it was him. So it was lovely to do it again, and sort of like when you revisit something like that, because 7 years later, I would still cry when I heard the music. So it was great because I don't cry anymore. Kind of got me out of the other side of it.
It was healing.
That was one of the hardest periods of my life, though, when I was doubling up the Carman and Mary Poppins. Like I was doing Mary Poppins at night, and then I was back in for like ballet class at 10 o'clock the next day to learn Carman.
And also dealing with a traumatic sort of healing process at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that time was crazy. I was thinking back to it the other day. I thought, God, the human body is capable of a lot. It really is. Like I was doing Mary Poppins at night, rehearsing the Carman, and then I had 2 weeks off Mary Poppins to do the shows of the Carman at Royal Albert Hall. But during the time I was performing the Carman, Louis Gaunt was coming in to do Bert in Mary Poppins. So during the day I was doing the Carman, I was rehearsing Louis Gaunt in for Mary Poppins. So then I was like doubling up again the other way, and then I did the last night of the Carman on the Sunday, and then I went back in on the Monday and did Louis Gaunt's dress run on the Monday and Louis Gaunt's first night on the Monday night. So it was literally like it was crazy. I did like 20-hour days for like 6 weeks. 7 weeks.
But you love it, babe.
Yeah,
we're only having a laugh. See?
We should probably say where the only having a laugh comes from.
Do you want to explain that?
So I had a little boy, one of the Michael Banks in Mary Poppins, and I don't know where he'd got it from. He was this really well-spoken boy. I think he was like homeschooled and everything. And he was called Noah, and but he was a lovely little boy. And but any time we left the stage, we'd do a scene, and then we'd leave the stage, and he'd go, "Only having a laugh." Like that, in that accent, only having a laugh with these hands. And it was amazing because like anything that had gone wrong, or like any, because a lot of things can go wrong in Mary Poppins. There's lots of magic tricks and whatever, a lot of the times I would click my fingers and nothing would happen. And then, or like I'd like done like a crack in my voice or whatever, and we'd leave the stage and be like, only having a laugh. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you know what? We're only having a laugh. Like,
but she's like really taking this in.
I take it to every job now. So anything goes wrong, I'm like, we're only having a laugh.
But like, it's not even like there'll be a silence in conversation, and she'll go, we're only having a laugh.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't. Nothing has to go wrong anymore.
It's true of everything.
So good.
Only having a laugh.
There's so many things that I could speak to you about to round this conversation up, but I do ask every one of my guests if you could tell me something that has felt like one of the most surreal moments of your life or career. It can be good, it can be bad, it can be ugly, it can be anything in between.
I think it's actually from the Cats, the hit movie musical, actually. So we used to do this thing on set where we would do this fake smoking to like calm each other down, like when things used to get a bit tense or whatever.
Because we're only having a laugh.
And so it was like a meditation thing where we'd sort of go, with a fake cigarette and blow it out, and then like sort of like waft the smoke away, like cough. So anyway, so Judi Dench like absolutely loved this and like made it like part of her personality. And she's never smoked a cigarette before, like even with that voice. She's never smoked a cigarette. It's wild. So anyway, so she was there for a lot of the filming because she's old Deuteronomy. So we were kind of like a right old gang, us and Judes, and so she would do this fake smoking all the time. She'd be like, well, with her fake cigarette. Anyway, Jennifer Hudson comes onto set for like 10 days because she just did memory. So we're doing the bit where we send her up to up past the Russell Hotel at the end when we choose her. Judi Dench, Deuteronomy, chooses her. So Judi Dench and Jennifer Hudson are stood next to, like face to face, waiting for these cameras to set up. We're all watching Judi. Anyway, what we're watching is Judi having a fake cigarette, like in Jennifer Hudson's face. So obviously Jennifer Hudson's like not in on the joke because like she's not been there. She's looking at Judi like, oh, she's lost it. Like Judi Dench has lost the plot. And then we're all just like, dying. Judi Dench is like, yeah, talking to Jennifer, like, this camera's being set up. Anyway, they're action. Jennifer's looking at her like, oh my God, what do I do? And she's like, action. And then Judi just does this whole thing where she like flicks the cigarette, after action. And then they go, it was so good. And it's just a moment that I'll never, ever forget of Jennifer
really hope you
Hudson's
don't.
face just being like, what's happening? But okay, and then going into the end of Cats.
Did anyone explain it to her
Nope.
after the fact?
No.
No. I wonder if she lays awake at night even now.
I think it lives rent free in her head.
Yeah,
It probably does.
God damn it, Judi Dench, man.
Was she smoking a cigarette and I just couldn't see it? It's like...
Am I losing my mind?
Yeah, literally. I love the thought of that.
And on that note,
yeah.
thank you very much for coming and
Thank
doing
you.
this. I honestly could sit here for 3 days.
I know, I can't believe it's the end.
I know, I'm
Wow,
so
that's so
sorry.
quickly.
Sorry, we'll do more next
Yeah.
time. We'll do more.
Please.
Best of luck with Wicked.
Thank
I promise
you.
you'll go in tomorrow and you will sing that la 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 and you'll be
just
smooth.
like that.
And then when you finish it, I really want you to get to the other side of the stage, like me, and
Yeah.
then have a small cigarette.
Yeah, well.
Just a fake one. Just a fake one.
Yeah.
But think of us,
Yeah.
all of the people in this room.
Oh.
We can't wait to see you in this role. And
I can't wait, actually.
will be a fan of you for the rest of my life. You know this anyway. But
love you.
all of these people will too. We love you. Ladies and gentlemen, Zizi Strallen.
Lucie Jones doing a podcast and it's just begun. Lucie Jones needed a theme tune, so I wrote a one. And it goes like this, off script. With Lucie Jones.